The following presentation is best experienced with headphones.
Welcome, honored guests. Please follow me to the garden. Thank you so much for your help in getting the traveler out of trouble. After all those trials, finally our strange traveler from parts unknown is fully recognized by the house. Turns out he had what he needed all along. He just needed to have the power to recognize it. It's funny how often things turn out that way. Now, today, Jax is finally ready to unveil their big project. I can't wait to find out what it is. But you won't have to wait much longer because we are here. I leave you now with the circle.
Hello, honored guests. I am so excited to finally share what I've been working on with you.
Yes, we will finally cut through the suspense and discover what this secret project of yours is.
We're all on the edge of our seats, I am sure.
Oh, hush, Mr. Forgettable. I know deep down you are excited for what Jax has to show us. At least, I know that I am.
Yes, let's not bicker back and forth. This is Jax's day.
For my part, Jax, I want you to know you have my full support.
And mine as well.
Yes, we are all behind you, but don't keep us waiting. What is this project of yours?
Well, it's this.
A stack of paper?
No, it's what's on the paper. My first story that I have ever written just for the Circle. It's my take on the old fables. I wrote it that way as a tribute to Grandmaster Emerus and Lady Morgana for how much they've supported me recently.
I can't think of a finer tribute.
What better gift for a group of storytellers than a new story to tell?
So, are you going to read it to us?
Nope. I'm going to offer it up to the flames. If they think that I'm worthy, then they will select my story for us to tell today. I don't know if this is how you normally do it, but here goes everything.
Oh, you just threw your whole story into the fire.
Surely you have another copy.
Nope, that was my only one.
Your only copy? Why would you?
Is that even how offering a story to the Skuldrick Flames works, Grandmaster?
I have seen worse ways to go about it, but calm yourselves, everyone, and look. The flames are clearing. Yes, I believe I see the crackle of a story on those flames. The fire burns bright, with stories ever knowing.
Jax, it seems that your faith in the Skuldrick Flame has been rewarded. Would you do us the honors and introduce it to everyone?
Honored guests and esteemed members of the Circle, I am proud to present to you all, for the first time ever, my original story.
Fowl Weather.
Another new story, and this one is by Jax. I can't wait to see what it's about.
In the forest, the leaves had turned colors.
The bright emeralds and soft pinks of the flower bushes had turned to ashy brown bare branches.
The towering, full trees that would dance in the soft summer zephyrs now rattled
and crackled
in the fierce autumn winds that sent warm-colored leaves dancing through the air, only to find rest on the firm, frigid ground.
All of the animals were preparing for the temperatures to become cold and the sky to rain fresh, powdery snow upon them, including Bear. He thought to himself,
I've made my preparations for hibernation. My belly was full and fatty.
Which would not only keep him warm,
but also kept him fed for the upcoming months when food was scarce.
I had found the perfect hollow tree to protect me from the harsh winter elements, and had stored up enough food to keep myself satiated until the sun returned to bring life to the forest again.
he was nearly ready for his slumber, but there was one more task he wanted to complete before retiring to his den.
Bear walked to the nearby lake, which reflected the gray, swirling clouds blocking out the sun back towards the sky. The mirror image was broken by 3 ducks landing on the surface of the water.
Bear smiled. His friends had come to say goodbye. They squawked over one another excitedly, happy to see their friend before their long migratory journey. Bear let out an exuberant chuckle.
Please, friends, one at a time. Are you all ready for your trip?
The middle duck Inte spoke first.
We're ready. We are so excited to travel south.
The youngest, Ahiru, cheered.
Yeah! We knew you were going to sleep tonight, so we came to say goodbye.
The serious eldest duck, Pato, interjected.
We're not totally ready. Look at your feathers, Inkay. You must finish molting as soon as possible so we can set off.
The middle duck grumbled as they prayed. But the Hiru swam forward and fluffed their wings proudly.
Look, Bear, look at my new flight feathers. They're all ready for my first migration.
They look quite strong. I'm sure your first southbound journey will be an exciting one.
If I do a good job, Pato said that we would be able to go see the beautiful mountain. I hope I could make it there.
Ahiru faltered a bit.
I worry about my inexperience. I don't want to hold anyone back.
Don't doubt your strength. You are more capable than you believe. Think about this summer. We had our annual race around the lake, and you were the fastest among the young ones. I believe your resilience will not fail you.
The small duck's demeanor improved a bit.
Do you really think I could do it?
I know you can. And besides, if you need support, you have the other flock members to rely on.
Inte and Pato quacked in agreement.
That's right. Of course, we'll always be right there to help you with anything. As your eldest sibling, it is my duty to protect you and keep you safe.
They turned to Inte, who was struggling to split a stray feather from their beak.
That goes for you too, Inte.
I don't need your help. I'm going to be the most well-known duck in the whole region. There will be stories of my great flights from the beautiful lakes to the sandy beaches. I am independent and strong. I don't need my older sibling to protect me.
Nobody is arguing with your strength and independence. Even the most powerful of leaders need a helping hand every once in a while.
Bear's gaze shifted from Inte to Pato, who knew without words that the advice he gave was not solely meant for the middle child. The middle duck simply scoffed and admired their visage in the reflection of the lake.
And you, Pato, how are you feeling? Finally having your first migration leading the flock must be stressful, to say the least.
The eldest duck took a moment to gaze upon the swirling gray clouds in thought of their near future.
I cannot stop to think of my own feelings. If I am to continue to lead this flock, I must stay steadfast in the face of any challenge. It must go perfectly, and I will do anything and everything in my power to ensure nothing goes wrong.
Do you think a perfect journey is possible?
For Pato it will be. Pato is the best. Nothing can slow him down. Right, Auntie?
I must admit you've been preparing for this a long time. And with me by your side, there's nothing that can stop us.
You are too prideful. This is why I can't be too sure of my plans. You're a wild card, as always.
As a leader, you have to be ready for anything.
Inte shot back with a mischievous grin. The 4 friends laughed together.
I know you two will make this the best migration we've ever had.
Bear, who had faded from sitting upright and proud, had now rested his head on his paws and yawned loudly.
His eyes blinked slowly.
His breathing was now deep and consistent.
Yet he smiled at his friends, who recognized he was falling victim to the sweet call of his yearly slumber. They exited the lake, shaking their feathers and nudging Bear's soft, furry body with their beaks.
The 4 friends walked in silence to the den of the bear at the foot of the hollow tree, which was full of soft, fallen leaves and moss. The ducks led their large, sleepy friend into the hollow and tucked their legs underneath them.
The bear laid himself down next to his friends, who inched closer and closer to his body as warmth dissipated due to the sinking sun on the horizon. Bear's eyes fluttered. trying to keep his eyes on a sunset that splayed oranges,
Purples,
reds,
and
yellows
yellows
across the sky.
But like the sun, his energy soon faded. His eyes fell, and he drifted off into deep, peaceful sleep, surrounded by his dear friends, whose presence would give him the sweetest dreams for the rest of winter.
The next day, the ducks took off for their migratory adventure. There was a chill in the wind, but the sun was warm, shining down on the feathered frames.
We got into formation, began beating our wings, and took off into the sky, flying up,
higher and higher.
Until they were able to glide without much effort.
Pato, being the oldest, took the lead.
I had planned this route accordingly, wanting to ensure the perfect journey. I was sure that if everything went to plan, then I would be granted the head of the flock the next year and the next, and I would be able to protect my siblings for many migrations to come.
After a while in the air, they flew closer to Inte.
How are you holding up?
Entei scoffed.
You have no reason to be checking on me. You know I am a strong flyer. This migration is no feat for me, but a simple journey. Tend to the other ducks. They are more worthy of your concern.
Pato rolled their eyes at the cockiness of their sibling, but knew that they were most likely correct.
Entei was a skilled flyer, and was almost as strong as they claimed. Almost. Pato then moved to Ahiru.
Are you all right, little one? We have just begun. Don't expend too much of your strength yet.
The smallest duck flapped their wings intentionally, their focus fixated on the large task before them.
I'm doing well. I'm determined to keep up with you at Entei, and so I will.
I was glad to know that our youngest sibling was so dedicated to our journey.
However, they could not help but notice the wavering of Ahiru's pace whenever strong winds pushed back on the flock's forward momentum.
Pato regained his position at the front of the group and pushed onward.
Soon, I noticed that the strong winds were picking up. I looked back to Ahiru in the last spot of our formation.
I tried to keep my head high and stay in my place, but the invisible force pushed us right and left and up and down and back and forth. I began to grow tired. My muscles ached from my back to my shoulders to the tip of my wings.
Ahead of them, Ahiru could see the confident Entei swaying softly with the wind. The middle duck looked as carefree as ever, which motivated Ahiru to keep pushing themselves, despite their bodies screaming to rest their tired wings.
The wind was soon joined by dark, swirling clouds above the flock.
My eyes fixated on the gray blobs above us. I flew to the west side of the flock and checked in with them. Then I flew to the east side of the flock and made sure they were all doing all right.
Pato did the same with the north and the south ducks, all the while keeping a close eye on the gray sky that lay before them.
They were just clouds for now, but if a storm descended upon our group, our precious plan would fall to pieces.
Pato knew their siblings were strong enough to fly from place to place, but a storm was a different monster entirely.
If they were to continue, they could be set off course, and Pato's perfectly planned route would be lost.
The winds could knock one of us out of the sky and hurt our wings so we could no longer travel to our warm southern space. What would I do if one of my family had to be left behind?
As these thoughts swirled in Pato's mind, a few droplets dripped out of the clouds and plopped onto their wings.
The water rolled off their hydrophobic feathers, but he could feel they were large and frigid. As they further assessed the challenges the storm would bring, and debated on what to do, the sky suddenly opened.
Rain poured out of the clouds like a waterfall. Pato's eyes were full of water. Their wings became heavier. Their feet were chilled to their bones. A decision had to be made. They flew to Entei.
What shall we do? We could stop and wait out this storm, but then we would fall behind our schedule. Or we could press on, but I am worried for the safety of the flock, especially Ahiru.
Entei flapped their wings even stronger than before as thunder rumbled in the sky.
This storm is nothing. We are strong as a flock and can keep going. Anyone who can't keep up will have to make up ground later.
Despite their words, just then a strong wind pushed past the birds, and Entei's usually balanced position faltered.
Pato quickly went to a hero who was significantly lower than the rest of the ducks, pushed down by the wind and the rain. They were furiously flying as hard as they could muster.
Shall we stop? Will you be able to brave this storm?
Ahiru, though breathing heavily and clearly exhausted, replied fervently.
I can do it. I don't want anyone to stop for me. I am just as strong as everyone else in the flock.
Suddenly, a crack of thunder and a flash of lightning streaked across the sky at the same time.
All the ducks were startled, but Ahiru's body finally gave out, and they began to fall. Down they went, just like the raindrops that surrounded them. They tried to catch the wind again with their tired, withering wings, but it was untamable, knocking the small duck to and fro.
I spun wildly in the air, being pelted from all sides by icy water and fierce wind. I was certain I was going to die, so I closed my eyes and accepted my fate.
But they suddenly stopped falling.
Ahiru's tail was in the strong feet of their eldest sibling, Pato.
Relief flushed over them as they descended slowly towards the ground.
The whole flock joined them, taking shelter from the rain under a small grove of evergreen trees.
Looking around at their companions, seeing them shiver, shaking the water off their wings and bodies, watching them jump in surprise at the crashes of thunder and the flashes of lightning, Pato came to a decision.
We are going to rest here until the storm lightens.
Most of the ducks quacked in agreement.
Wait, Pato, don't do this because of me. I can keep going. I promise. I won't fall anymore. I just needed a bit to rest my wings, but I'm ready to fly again. I don't want to delay us all.
I would rather arrive a bit late than risk anyone getting hurt in these conditions. It's all right, Ahiru. It's not just because of you. We all could benefit from a rest, and we are all in danger in this kind of storm.
Ahiru hid their head in shame, embarrassed from their fall, upset at themselves for holding the flock back. Inte quacked in protest.
I agree with Ahiru. We don't need to stop. This storm is child's play. Anyone who doesn't think they can make it through is just doubting themselves. Strengthen up and let's go!
Entei flapped their wings excitedly.
This is not about strength, this is about safety. One of us could fall or get struck by lightning. The safety of the flock is better to prioritize than the impatience of getting to our destination.
I don't want to stop for anybody. Not even my little sibling. We should continue on and they can catch up once the storm dissipates. We all know the way.
No, Entei. I am the leader of this flock, and so I make the decision. I have decided we will wait.
You're just scared. Not me. I'm not afraid. I'll continue on and make it there before all of you. You'll see.
With that, Inte beat their wings as fast as they could and took off.
Pato faltered for a moment, unsure if they should follow Entei or stay with the flock. By the time they had turned to speak to Entei again, they had flown away, hidden now by the pouring rain.
It was the first day of spring. Bear awoke from his deep hibernation and exited the hollow of his big tree.
The snow was still melting in the forest, leaving little puddles that sparkled in the new season's sunlight. He took a moment to pause in one of the rays that broke through the trees and feel its warm embrace.
I trotted off to my favorite spot, the lake, which was unfrozen but still cold and refreshing.
He drank it in with mindful appreciation for the wonders of the earth around him.
The silence of his reveries was broken by friendly quacking and fluttering of wings. As he brought his head up from the water, his body was tumbled over by the three ducks, who nuzzled their beaks into his soft fur and spoke over one another excitedly, saying things like,
"You're finally awake!
We missed
Good
you.
morning!
There, you're here!
Happy spring!
Bear laughed and laughed, smiling from one fluffy ear to the other.
Welcome home. It's been a long time.
How was the winter here?
It was fierce and frigid. The earth has had much pain of late. Her anger was evident in the storms, and yet she rewarded those who could withstand her with peace in the silence of the snowy starlit nights. It feels as if she's been reborn this spring, even more than in years past. My hibernation was much needed rest, and I'm grateful for the winter blanketing me while I slept.
That sounds very peaceful.
Pato grumbled, shooting a fierce look at Entei, who avoided their harsh gaze by landing softly on the water.
Ahiru sensed the tension between their siblings and shook their feathers out nervously. They seemed to shrivel up a little bit, as if they wanted to hide away. Bear approached the smallest duck and lowered his head to them.
Are you all right?
Ahiru tried to keep their composure together, but their gaze went from Entei to Pato and back to Bear's gentle eyes, and broke down.
Oh, Bear!
Ahiru cried, tears sliding from their little eyes down their feather-covered face.
Migration was awful! Just awful!
Their siblings, unable to hide from their friend Bear any longer, also broke out into tears.
Even Pato, which I found very unusual.
The bear's tender heart seemed to crack at the sight of his friends so upset.
Come, my dears, follow me.
Slowly and mournfully, the group followed the large animal to his hollow tree, where they laid down together. When they had tucked him in for his sleep, the den could barely accommodate all four of them at once.
But, due to his fasting, the bear's body had slimmed tighter to his bones, and they were able to sit in a warm, cozy hollow together.
They all snuggled up to his gaunt body. Once again, the ducks rubbed their beaked faces into his fuzzy skin, but this time they left his hair stained with tears.
Take deep breaths, young ones. Let me share in your burden so as to lessen the weight.
Ahiru, who was the most upset, spoke first.
I thought I could make it. I flew my best, but it still wasn't enough. I flapped my wings up and down and up and down. I tried to ride the wind as best I could, but then the storm came.
Oh, the storm, Bear. Of course there had to be a storm on my first migration at the lead. We hadn't even made it through a third of our journey before a windy, blustery storm came through. It nearly knocked us out of the sky.
It can be very disheartening to encounter a difficult obstacle at the beginning of a long journey.
I didn't think I would make it to the end. If Pato hadn't been watching me, then I would have splattered all over the ground.
I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to delay our journey, but what were we supposed to do? How could we go on when the wind was knocking us all about?
Pato made it seem like he was talking to Bear, but out the corner of his eye, Bear saw Entei hide his face with his wings, his body shaking as he wept heavily.
Bear uncurled a paw from underneath him and scooted the middle duck closer. For a second, Entei peeked out of their wings, but at the sight of the soft eyes of Bear, he quickly hid again. This did not deter the gentle giant.
And you? How did you fare in the storm?
Entei struggled to get their words out, trying to force back the crying they had been indulging in.
But the tightness in their throat came out in their tone as they blubbered out their response.
Well, I thought the storm wasn't that bad, and I was really excited to get to the southern point, so I...
Entei lamented openly, tears dripping onto the soft leaves of Bear's cozy den.
I flew on my own. I thought I could figure out the way, and I was sure I had the strength to get there, so I left.
Entei admitted that they had left behind their family for their own pride. At the time, they were certain they could brave the angry weather and make it to the flock's new resting place first.
I'm the best flyer in the whole flock. A little storm like that wasn't supposed to slow me down. I wanted to pick up my nesting place and get settled in the new warm environment. So off I flew.
They started out strong. Sure, the wind jostled them and knocked them from side to side in the air. And of course, the rain sent chills through their hollow bones, while in the sky. But they persevered. They soared forward, dodging pelting water and crackling lightning.
My thought was, as long as I kept going straight south, I would reach the rendezvous in no time.
So on they went. As time passed, it became harder and harder to stay in the air. Entei's back ached and his wings were numb from the cold.
They kept having to pull their beak apart by opening it, cracking the thin layer of ice from the freezing temperatures.
Even I was beginning to tire. But I could see in the distance that there were thinner clouds, and the sun was peeking through.
So they raced ahead to the edge of the storm, flapping their wings as hard as their muscles would let them, and finally they broke free from the curtain of rain the storm had created.
They plunged towards the ground, landing at last with their beak chattering. They stretched out their wings in the gentle sunlight, letting the rays dry their damp, weary feathers. Relief washed over them, just like the warm light that shone on them.
My confidence had returned. The silly Pato was worrying for nothing. I got through the storm with no issue whatsoever. As I took flight again, it made me happy to think of how jealous the flock would be when I reached the southern point first and picked out the best nesting spot before they even arrived.
But Entei began looking around, and well, that tree wasn't there last year, was it?
And that type of sparrow was not supposed to be in this region, was it?
And the sun was setting directly in front of them, and...
Oh no.
Entei was lost.
Back in the small clearing of evergreens, the rest of the flock anxiously emerged as the pouring rain turned to little droplets that trickled down off the needles of the fir tree and plopped into the puddles below.
As soon as the storm had abated, Pato quickly took flight and circled the areas nearby.
Surely Entei couldn't have gotten that far in the weather. They had to be close. They were so foolish to have flown off on their own. I wished I could have stopped them, but I had to protect the rest of the flock.
Suddenly, Pato saw another duck flying around frantically a little bit away.
I zoomed through the sky towards the flapping figure, hoping with every feather of my body that Entei had enough sense to not fly off on their own.
But as they approached...
Nahiru, what are you doing flying around? You should be resting your weary wings. We should take off soon now that the weather has cleared.
I was looking for Entei. I wanted to make sure they were safe. They can't have flown off completely, could they?
I didn't think so either, but I've surveyed our proximity and...
The eldest duck sighed and urged the youngest to follow them back to the ground.
Once they landed, Pato had another decision to make.
Should we wait for the overconfident Entei to show up? Or should we move along and hope that Entei had enough sense to reach their destination on their own? I wanted to believe that my sibling was not headstrong and stubborn enough to have believed a solo journey was a smart idea, and that they would return any minute.
But the sun was beginning to set. Pato looked around to the rest of the flock, and they appeared to grow restless.
It was true. The flock preened their wings and fluffed their feathers, a sure sign of an impatient duck.
I felt like I was failing as the flock leader. I was so nervous to make the wrong decision that I didn't want to make any decision at all.
But you did! You got us up in the air and moved towards our destination before the sun set, and we made significant progress before the end of the night.
It's true. Pato, Ahiru, and the rest of the flock powered diligently onward.
They were determined to reach their rendezvous point, all the while keeping a careful eye out for their lost flockmate, Entei.
If I saw Pato looking to the east, I made sure to look to the west.
And if a hero was looking to the south, I looked to the north.
Alas, no sign of their sibling was seen. As they approached the southern point, all the members of the flock joined in their search.
Each of them voiced their worry that their friend was in danger or lost to the horrible storm they had encountered.
Despite their misgivings, I remained steadfast that Entei would be waiting for us at the southern rendezvous.
They had to be, right?
Finally, in the distance, a glittering lake came into eyesight. It was surrounded by lush green trees and soft green grass.
The chilly, dry air of autumn they had begun traveling with had been left behind, replaced by moist southern breezes.
The warmth brightened the flock's spirits, but still, a thick vein of uneasiness wove itself through each duck.
Was Entei going to be waiting for us?
Or would they be nowhere to be found?
Pato and Hiro were the first to land, skidding across the water and floating to a comfortable stop. They both scanned from shore to shore, but saw no sign of their sibling.
Naturally, we had to get a higher view to make sure.
So we both flew up into the sky and searched every square inch of the lake and its surrounding forest.
But after hours of looking and asking other animals that had taken residence in the lake, the two siblings had to accept the fact that Entei was not there.
They waited.
And waited. And they waited.
Hoping their sibling would show up.
But fall turned to winter,
and Entei still did not show. It was at this point that Pato decided they must search one final time for their sibling.
I'm going to fly backwards on our route a bit to see if I can find Entei. Ahiru, stay here with the rest of the flock.
No, I want to go with you. I can help, I promise. Entei flying off on their own is what got them lost. I don't want it to happen to you too. If we work together, we can keep track of our path better.
Pato hesitated. As the oldest, they felt it was their duty to protect their siblings. But the hero made a good point. Sticking together was part of their plan in the first place.
All right, you can come with me, but stay close.
Off the two ducks flew. They soared over the trees, heading in a northward direction. All the while, they kept their eyes fixated, looking desperately for their sibling.
We flew from the lake, over the forest, past the tall mountain, and landed in the big clearing where Entei had flown off on their own. The whole way, we didn't see any sign of them.
In the clearing, as the ducks rested their wings, Pato racked their brain, trying to come up with a solution. But as they thought and thought, tiny tears began to prick their eyes.
Pato, are you crying?
No. I'm the eldest. I'm supposed to stay strong for you.
But as they turned to a hero, drips fell from their face and plopped onto the clearing floor. And the jig was up. A hero quickly wrapped their wings around the eldest in a tight hug.
You're very strong. You led the flock despite Entei's disappearance. You've been flying non-stop trying to find them. You're the best leader ever.
Pato dried their eyes, took a deep breath, and squeezed their wings around the youngest.
And I know you will be just as great, if not greater one day.
The siblings rested a little while longer, then decided to fly back to the lake. They flew mostly in silence.
Both of them were weary from all the extra flying they had done. Ahiru, in particular, felt their body ache and creak with every flop of their wings. But they pushed onward, unsure what the next step would be to finding the lost Entei.
After some time, they spotted the glittering lake in the distance. They lowered their altitude as it grew bigger with their closeness, and spotted their flock at the east end of the water.
Everyone was clumped up for some reason. It was like they were huddling for warmth.
But the air was hot, so that couldn't be it. Maybe they were dancing to keep their spirits up.
No, that wasn't it either. They weren't moving that much, so what could they be doing?
We landed on the water, then kicked our feet to get closer to the group.
And from the middle of the crowd emerged
Entei!
The siblings scrambled to the shore to meet each other with so much joy and relief.
You made it! Oh, I'm so glad you're not hurt.
I was so scared. I thought I would never find my way again, and worse, I'd never see my dear siblings again. I'm so happy to see you.
We're all back together again. Thank Mother Earth.
They spent the next few months hugging and crying and arguing and apologizing and everything in between. And so ensued the rest of their time away from their home.
Bear had been listening closely to the three emotional duck stories. They talked over one another about who was truly wrong and which sibling's fault it was that the migration had gone so poorly.
They repeated that it was the worst migration ever, and they vowed never to do it again. Bear waited for a moment, then spoke up.
My friends, you haven't finished your story. Please tell me the end of it.
The ducks looked at their large, hairy friend in confusion.
Well, how was the flight back home?
Stressful.
Tense.
Tiring.
But did anything go wrong?
The ducks looked around at one another in silence. They squinted their eyes in thought and tapped their beaks with their wings. Bear laughed.
Dear ducklings, it seems to me this trip was much more valuable than you realize.
The ducks, beginning to flap their wings and flap in indignation, could not believe what they were hearing.
Bear was a dear friend to them. They had spent many a spring together after previous migrations and his hibernation. They rejoiced together in the newborn flora and fauna each new season. The parties they would have together would begin joyfully at the beauty of the sunrise, and not cease until they were lulled to sleep by the twinkling of the stars.
Yet, after all they had lamented to him, he said the trip was valuable? It was as if he had not been listening to them at all.
How could you say that? Don't you have pity for your dear friends? After all we've been through, you smile and you laugh, as if what we experienced wasn't entirely traumatizing.
It appears to me that you're unable to see past the tips of your beaks. I do not deny the journey sounds difficult. It could not have been easy leading your flock to a new residence for the winter, especially given the circumstances. Pity, however, is an emotion I reserve for the truly pitiful. The story I hear is not one worthy of pity, but of great celebration.
Celebration? What is there to celebrate about such an arduous journey?
When you were met with an obstacle, you simply diverted your path and overcame the problem. Pato, your plan to head directly south did not come to fruition, but when the storm came, you made the difficult decision to rest in order to keep your flock safe from the foul weather. A smart choice by a good leader, to be sure. Entei, you became lost, but you were able to navigate your way all the way to the southern lake all on your own. I must admit, I wasn't sure you had it in you. And little Ahiru, you endured a frost-bitten winter storm with as much steadfast endurance and stamina as you could muster. You were also able to do so much flying while helping Pato search for Entei that the flight back to your home here was seamless. The journey to the rendezvous was only one half of the journey, and the second half went off without a hitch. Time and time again this winter, you persevered and pushed onward. You learned from your mistakes and were able to make it safely back here to your good friend Old Bear. So no, I do not feel pity for any of you little ducklings. I feel pride in having friends like you who are so brave and strong and fierce. Friends who learn from their mistakes and solve problems all on their own.
The ducks had begun to cry again, but quietly this time, and without a frown.
A warmth in their chest grew and grew with each word Bear had said. They recognized it for what it was. Love for a dear friend who saw the best in them when they could not see it in themselves. They jumped onto his fluffy body and snuggled, hugged, and kissed him.
We are so lucky to have you, Bear.
What would we do without you, old friend?
You always help us see the good side of everything.
And I feel so grateful to Mother Earth for giving me friends who care for me so deeply. In fact, I believe this calls for a celebration.
Bear took off running, the ducks still attached to his fur. As he exited the tree hollow, they opened their wings and took to the air to playfully chase their friend, smiling all the way.
Bear led them to the nearby cliff above the lake. Their laughter echoed off the side of the mountain, still lit by the hot afternoon sun.
They all dove towards the water, leaving behind only a sparkling splash as their bodies broke the surface of the rippling lake. The most trying of difficulties can reveal our biggest strengths.
The end.
Oh, honored guest, that story resonated so strongly with me. I hope that the circle tells it again soon.
Ah, a new fable. Emrys, can you believe it? It's just wonderful.
It has been a long time. People don't often write them nowadays, and this one has such a strong moral to it.
Well, Elias, Mr. Forgettable, what do you have to say about it?
Though you have done things all out of order, I cannot argue that your commitment to the circle and the House of Branching Paths is lacking.
With the trust that you have shown to the Scaldric Flames and to all of us, I can see why Grandmaster Emrys and Lena Morgana argued in favor of changing the rules, at least in your case.
Those are strong words coming from you, Mr. Forgettable.
They were hard-earned. That was a wonderful story, Jax. I would be proud to call you a fellow member of the Circle.
As would I. You have shown yourself to be trustworthy with or without a seal. Though I admit that I am very confused as to why you do not have one at this point.
On that note, I think I see something. Ilyana, can you hand me those fire tongs next to you?
These?
Yes, I think I can just... Here you are, Jax. Don't worry, you can take it. You'll find it's quite cool.
A seal? Is this... mine?
Indeed, it is.
If it were not, you would not be able to hold it.
Honored guests, fellow men...
Actually, Emrys, do you mind if I do this part?
By all means, old friend.
Honored guests and fellow members of the Circle, it is my great pleasure to introduce to you all the bearer of the seal of Copper Ginkgo, Jax.
I finally feel like a full-fledged member of the Circle.
And so you should.
To possess a seal given by the flames themselves, this is rare, is it not?
It has only happened a handful of times that I am aware of. Emrys, Hubbard, and Hans Christian Andersen were all among their number.
It seems we should expect great things from you, Jax.
Our poor flames are all burnt out for today, though.
Yes, I do believe I see the crackle of a story on those flames. But for next time.
The fire burns low, with stories ever glowing.
Safe travels, honored guests.
Hey, Jax.
Yeah, Traveler?
We did it.
Yeah, we did!
Honored guests, come follow me, for you mustn't stay at our house for too long. I wonder what my seal would be if I had one. What an exciting day for Jax and the Traveler. I wish you could stay. Oh, but you must go. Stay close behind my guests, and whatever you do, don't answer any voices you may hear on the way out. Oh, but do come back. Hearing the Circle stories brings me to life.
You have been listening to The House of Branching Paths, a theatrical podcast experience brought to you by Round 2 Productions, created by Mark Kilmer and Caroline Miller, with featured artists Kimmy Kidd, Bill Blanky, April Sita, Justin Panachia Shimza, Jamie Chandler, George Doerr, Joshua Towers, and Katie Bailey, with music by Elegy. For even more content, join us on our Patreon, or for more stories like these, be sure to visit your local library. Thank you for joining us, honored guests, and remember, the fire may burn low, but the stories are ever glowing.